Hi guys, and welcome to this VA Live interview with Kitty Fairbarn, who's one of my lovely Nurture grads. Now, I'm thrilled to have her here to share a little bit about her current business journey, how the Nurture program's helped her along her way, and generally about VA life. So welcome, Kitty.
Hello, hi.
Hello. So can you tell us a little bit about kind of you, your business, your background, and how you got into running your VA business?
Yes, sure. Yeah. So my name's Kitty, and my business is Aspen VA Services. And my history, my sort of background is I was working in the city in London as an EA, specifically in sort of financial services and specialist insurance, and I absolutely loved it. Had a really good boss that I worked with, and sort of over the years we built up a really good working relationship. So yeah, really enjoyed my job, really enjoyed the kind of buzz of it. And just sort of everything that goes along with being a PA. But I've moved on from that now, and now I've been set up as a virtual assistant for almost 4 months now, so still in the early stages, but actually it's amazing how quickly you transition, and I kind of feel like I've been doing it for quite a while now, so which is really good, yeah.
That's amazing. No, obviously Kitty and I, we come from sort of similar backgrounds in terms of financial services, because I was in insurance in the city as well. And I think like you feel liberated, and I don't know how I could ever go back to sort of corporate life after tasting the flexibility of running your own business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I sort of have a double feeling about it, because I do sort of slightly miss. I really enjoyed the team that I worked with, the sort of global nature, you know, being in a really buzzy office, and you get a bit more sort of glamour and excitement when you're in an office environment. But obviously working from home is quite different. But there's lots of other advantages to it, you know, which
yeah, agreed.
It's definitely right for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you're 4 months in. What
Yeah.
inspired you to start a VA business then?
Yeah, so for me it was really, I think my main kind of why was having my little boy, who is now just over 18 months. And I kind of, as I've said just then, I really loved my job, and I had a great team I worked with. I found it really interesting, and sort of like there was a lot of development at the place I was working, and it was just a fantastic organisation. It was actually somewhere that people would stay for like 30 years plus, so it was somewhere that I really enjoyed. But when I had him, and when I was on my maternity leave, I was kind of thinking, how am I going to keep working, which I really enjoyed, and do a job that I love, but fit it in with having, you know, a young family, and kind of being there during these years when my little boy's you know, sort of needs me, and not kind of doing, you know, big long commutes and things like that. So that was the reason I really wanted to set it up. And actually I'd been thinking, you know, should I go in part-time into the city? How am I going to work things, and just really trying to juggle it. And I had heard about VAs a few years before. I went to one of the, I think it was then the Office show, and now the PA show. And I'd heard somebody speaking about VAs, and sort of thought, sounds really interesting. But at the time, I think just never really looked into it more. But then as the sort of date of me going back to work was approaching, I was thinking, well, I really do need to figure out what's going on. So I've been doing more research, but then I also had a personal recommendation through somebody that I met, that actually said, oh, have you know, looked at VIP VA and Charlotte's program? And I think that was like the light bulb moment where I was like, oh, there's actually a way that I can, you know, make this work. And I read lots of testimonials and looked at loads of other people's websites to see, you know, what other people were doing, and it just clicked, and I was like, actually I can still do that, but fit it in around and childcare and being home for dinner time and things like that.
And it is, it's such a common trend at the moment with people leaving women leaving city-based jobs, because yeah, it just doesn't offer the flexibility that we need if you want to be kind of a present parent as well as having a career as well. It just that the two don't seem to mesh.
Yeah. Although I think that what I'm learning now is that actually, when I was working in the city, I thought everyone sat at their desk all day, you know, was physically present, sat outside their boss's office. But actually, now tapping into this world of freelance workers, I'm realizing how so many people are working flexibly, and that there's not this expectation of needing you to be sat outside your desk. And it's sort of, it's opened up a whole new world to me of actually possibilities that, as long as the work gets done and the deadlines are met and it's within the times that you've agreed, it can work fine. And even, you know, I don't work with any of the people at the moment that I used to work with in the city, but actually more and more people there were working from home, and I can see how virtual support could be something that would work, even in those larger organisations.
Well, you can see the start of the ripple effect with things like hot desking and flexi time and all of that, and it kind of does tend to go that way before then they start to think about, well, actually, does anyone need to be in the office, and does it have to be 9 to 5, and as you say, as long as the work gets done.
Yeah, and big organisations, there are some in the insurance world that I've heard of that are having virtual support, and also places like PwC, EY, I think they have virtual teams. So it's definitely something, you know, that there could be a match if people are open to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now you're 4 months in, got your little boy, he's just over 18 months old. So how are you finding now with your business that it's working, sort of spending time with him and also obviously having clients?
Yeah, so I'm really lucky because I have family close by. So that honestly, I really couldn't have kind of done it without them, because obviously there's a bit of a transition period when you're setting up that you're setting up your business and you're not necessarily earning and haven't already, you know, got clients. So there's that kind of, you need the time to do things. And I did do lots of evenings, upstairs, working away, you know, till it was late. But family have really helped me. So I think that's the main thing. They help with lots of childcare and pickups and things like that. So that's really good. And also I think setting quite firm boundaries for yourself, which I'm not very good at, and I'm learning as I go to get better at that. I think when you start, you just want to work, you know, as much as you possibly can, and you're really invested in it, and you just need to use any minute you've got. But now that I'm sort of getting a bit more used to things and how I'm working, I do have set times for myself that I'm working, and I find that really helps. I you know, I couldn't, and I don't work with my little boy around, and that wouldn't work for me. I just need the concentration, and I have to pause for clients. It's just not how I would want to work. So I've got set times where I'm working, and then I provide flexibility for my clients that you know, everyone's got emails on their phone nowadays, haven't they? So I can respond to things when I'm not at my desk, and then also I'm still doing bits of evenings and things like that to make it work. So yeah, I think having the set boundaries, having family close by, I'm really, really lucky with. Just closing my office door, you know, because working from home, you do have that temptation of, oh, there's laundry that he's doing, or you know, someone's got to load the dishwasher. So I think when I have my set hours, I'm really strict with that now, and I just close the door, forget everything out there, and you know, really sort of make it my working time, which seems to be working well now. Yeah, because it is so tempting just to go off and do things, but it's not fair when you have set time aside to work for clients and they're expecting things. So,
yeah, absolutely.
It's working so far, but I have to say I'm lucky. You know, that I don't have the school holidays yet, and I haven't got that big juggle, because he's little enough that he's still kind of in, you know, having, you know, childcare that's a bit more regular. But it's working well so far, and it's really nice to be around. You know, I don't have a commute. I'm not worrying about, whilst I didn't have a really long commute, it was still the worry of, you know, if something kicked off in the US, you would have to stay and get it sorted, and that was my own. I wanted to do that as much as the expectation from the company I was working for, but also things like just trains not running, you know, and that would have just caused a lot of stress for everybody. So it's really nice to have that and to be able to switch off, go downstairs and be back to being mum.
Yeah, I hear you. It's because, as you say, it's not just about when you choose to work. When you've got a commute to factor in, you're reliant on the trains running on time, or you know, the weather affecting the train, or whatever it is, and it just
absolutely,
it's added sort of external factors that can eat into the precious time that you have with your family. I like to think that certainly with like work and life, the great thing about running your business is that you can integrate your work and life, but equally the bad thing about running your business is your work and life are integrated in that whole, you know, you could be at home and you think, oh, I'll just go off and do this thing,
Yeah,
or do the shopping, and the boundaries become really blurred, don't they? So
definitely. And I was really guilty of that at the beginning, just because, you know, you're so keen, aren't you? And I wanted to use every minute, but I'm trying to sort of set more strict boundaries for myself. But
and some of that you only sort of stumble upon as you do things and think either, oh, that's worked well, or equally, no, I wouldn't want to do that again.
yeah, definitely. And also as I'm starting to work with more clients, and actually I sort of, at the beginning I was quite paranoid because I wasn't going to be sat at my desk and working the same hours 5 days a week that I was previously doing. And I was a bit like, how am I going to offer the same support, and how can I actually say to people that yes, I'm going to be a responsive assistant, and I do some you know, I do calendar and email management for one of my clients. And I thought, well, you know, how's that going to work? Because I was used to being just really sat at my desk the whole time, but actually it works absolutely fine. It's a new way of working, and you have to figure out ways of managing that. And you know, I do still, yes, when it's not my working hours, when I'm doing things, I do still kind of have a look at things, but you can do it in a sort of balanced way. And as I said, if something needs to be done, then I'm able to do it and I'm available. So I think it's just figuring that out and setting expectations with your clients as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so obviously you've got some clients in place, and how have you found that you've brought on those clients? So how have you actually found those clients?
Yeah, so well, when I started, I basically just told everyone and anyone, which you had said to do, and other people that I'd spoken to had said, literally just tell people at mums groups that you're at, tell you know, people that you used to work with. So I let lots of people know on LinkedIn and that kind of thing. I've had really good interest actually from people. Oh, I've never even heard of a virtual assistant. What an amazing idea! And I was like, it's not my idea. There's lots of them out there.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, so I'm the only one. But yeah, so I've had interest through there. Word of mouth, I would say mainly.
Yeah.
Also through your virtual assistant database, and that you had. I've kind of had a referral through there from you, and I also do some associate work at the moment, which is working really well. That's also come through the network, VIP VA network, and people that I have tapped into just to get advice and sort of information it started with, and then actually it's built onto relationships. And virtually I connected with a lady who is literally 5 minutes down the road from me, which was amazing. And she had put out a post to say, can anyone help me with I think it was some board papers for
Yes.
an organisation she was working with. And I got in touch, and actually we met for a coffee, and she literally is a neighbour of mine. So we now work together, which is really good. Yeah, so it's amazing, because at the beginning that was a real fear of mine actually. I thought, I've spent all this time, energy, you know, a bit of money investing in getting my website set up and all of that, and then you're sort of waiting, and it's a bit of tumbleweed. Are you going to get any clients? But it's amazing how quickly they come in and people hear about you. And yeah, that I didn't need to panic about that. And actually that's what I would say to anybody that's thinking about it, that it will happen and you will get clients. You can't predict where they'll come from.
No.
I'm still building up. I still have a bit of sort of capacity for a few more kind of bigger clients. So that's really good. But yeah, you don't need to worry. They will come. And I think you need to do things like networking. I have been to lots of networking events in London, which is great and actually really nice when you're just sat on your own working independently. It's quite nice to
meet up with other
people, town and chat to other people that are freelance workers. So it's good to network just from that perspective as well.
That's amazing about connecting with someone virtually though, and then finding out that they're literally your neighbour.
Yeah, it is amazing. And I mean, we haven't needed to. I think she did say to me the other week that, you know, she needed to drop off some receipts or something. So could we meet up for that? But we you know, it's amazing. You can. It just shows me how virtual you can be and how much can be done virtually now. And yeah, it's a whole new world. It's opening up.
But it's still nice to know that you've got those people on your doorstep, though, isn't it? So you've got human interactions when you need it.
Definitely. And I had such a nice network of EAs and PAs when I was working in the city, and they, you know, were just amazing. The people that we all sort of sat in a bank of desks outside our directors' offices, and it was just fantastic. We would all cover for each other when people were away, and you could ask, you know, questions and things. So I think actually doing it on your own, you need to find that network somewhere, because it's just really daunting otherwise and quite lonely. So that was really important for me from the start, and actually that's why VOPVA was so appealing, because I kind of was like, there are other people out there that are doing the exact same thing for the exact same reasons, have got, you know, the exact same background. So it's really nice to have that sort of virtual team, I guess.
Yeah, I think that having that sort of community can just keep you sane, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
Talking to yourself all day, or just knowing that there's somebody at the end of a email, message, whatever it is, or that you can pick up the phone to. I think that was one of the things I found hardest about moving from employment to self-employment, was just suddenly being me in a room all day, and you go, the banter's missing and the community spirit's missing. So
definitely.
That's really, really important.
Yeah.
So what's the best thing, I know you're only 4 months in, but what's the best thing you've had so far about running your own business?
So obviously, I mean, you know, the reason for doing it, and the best thing, is to be around for my family and to have my boy and to make that work. And it's working really well. So I'm really pleased, you know, with that. I was really pleased last week, and I never want to put out a post because I feel like it's bloating, but when I didn't have to commute in with that hot weather.
Oh God, yeah.
So I don't, even though I didn't have a long commute, I don't miss the commute. So I would say, and also just being your own boss. I've had, as I said, a great relationship with my most recent boss and the organisation I worked with. But there's something really liberating about being your own boss. And I'm proud to say that I'm a career PA, and that's what I really want to do, and that's what I have always envisaged doing.
Yeah.
But now adding kind of business owner to that is actually something that I probably didn't realise that I would enjoy and that I would kind of take pride out of. So I think that's probably one of the best things, that I feel really proud of the business I've set up, and I'm still getting used to saying I'm a business owner and what to call myself, you know, on my email signature and things like that. But I think that's one of the best things, definitely. Yeah, putting that experience that I've got, using it for something that's relevant, and creating my own little business from it.
Yeah,
absolutely. The future holds, you know, at the moment it's just me, and I'm kind of working, you know, I'm only 4 months in, so I'm getting it set up, but I've heard lots of stories of very inspirational, you know, VAs that have got teams behind them and set up really amazing things. So it's exciting to kind of see where, you know, think where things could go in the future.
Definitely. Well, there's opportunity, isn't there? And it's just going to be dependent on where you want to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, and then conversely, you might not have had any icky situations so far, but what's been, I guess, the worst thing or most challenging thing about getting the business to where it is now?
Yeah, so I think that, I mean, the most challenging thing about getting the business to where it was just the amount of information that's out there, which is amazing. There's lots of people that are VAs, and there's loads of forums, websites, groups of you know, information, which is really fantastic, but it's quite overwhelming. So I think for me the challenge at the beginning was, and I'm also one of those people that feels like I need to know everything before I can do anything. So I think it was just bringing that all in and actually getting started. That was quite a big challenge, and I think that if I had to do that on my own, it would have taken me a lot longer. So I think, that was a big challenge. And then just learning to work in a different way, I think also, you know, I wouldn't say it's a negative thing, but it's just a different, and it's a challenging, you know, way of working. I've got to keep time aside to run my own business, to do, you know, my own invoicing, my admin, social media, things like that, which is obviously a new concept for me. And then juggling, you know, having a few clients that have obviously different priorities and really different businesses. So it's not that everybody has the same thing and you're kind of working on one project. So I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, but it's just a challenging new way of working. But I definitely think I'm getting to grips with that now.
Yeah, it's a juggle like you've never had before, isn't it, when you've got multiple clients? Because as you say, you might have been in an organisation before where you're managing different people, but almost with the same end goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
When it's different clients, they each have different size of organisations or industries, or even just day-to-day like systems and software.
Yeah. And I read a quote from another VA on her blog, so I hope she doesn't mind me quoting it, but I think it was last week. And I think her client had said, you make me feel like I'm your number one client or I'm your only client. And I thought that sounded so good, because actually your clients don't really care that you've got other clients, or be really sort of want to know that. So actually it's amazing if you can make that your each and every client think that what you're doing for them is the most important thing and that they're the only person you're thinking about. And I think that's definitely a skill that you need to build up over time. But that's what I would aim to do. I love the most rewarding thing for me about being a PA is being that kind of right-hand person for your boss or your client now, and just being that really invaluable support and doing things that they're like, they didn't even think about before, and I really loved that, and I really liked building up that relationship. So that's what I would aim with my clients to do, to actually they see me as their full-time PA, even if I'm only doing 2 hours a week for them.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, even for the established VAs watching this, because I think sometimes when we're running our businesses, we can get so caught up in like winning new clients or growing the business and everything, that actually the most important thing is the clients, and making sure that they do feel like they're a priority, and that although they know they haven't got 100% of our time, that they know that they're valued, that they are getting that support and the results that they want. And I think, you know, sometimes people can forget that. So
definitely
important. Absolutely. And how would you say, Kitty, obviously I was thrilled that you came and joined me in the Nurture program. How would you say that program kind of helped you to get your business off the ground?
So as I said just now, that there is so much information out there, which is fantastic, but I was feeling really overwhelmed. And I think also coming out of maternity leave, I'd taken a year out, so it was just going back into work was kind of a bit nerve-wracking and a bit scary, because you've done this whole different thing full-time for a year, and then you've got to remember, you know, who you were and what you were doing before. So that was overwhelming. The amount of information was overwhelming, and just again, like I said, I'm the kind of person that I really like to do. I know lots of people do, but I like to do things properly, and I was worried about things like the legalities, insurance. Those things were making me feel a bit panicky about being a business owner and what I needed to have in place. So for me, the Nurture program, when I read on the website that those were modules, you know, that you would sort of help to actually step by step set up the business and put everything into bite-sized chunks, that was really appealing to me. And I think that breaking things down and thinking, right, don't worry about that until you get to module, you know, whatever, just work on this now, that really helped me to sort of focus my time and energy. And I think the result was that I set up a lot quicker than I anticipated. I did. Yeah, definitely. And I think that having all of that information put into bite-sized chunks, because actually setting up your business, even though everyone has different niches, is fairly formulaic. There are certain things you have to have in place, and there are certain things you need to do. So someone telling you, right, do this now, and, you know, do the next thing. Obviously, everybody that comes out of it will have a totally different business at the end of the course, but there are certain things you need to do. And for me, that really, really helped. And secondly, and equally as important, the community. So having I think it's monthly nurture calls that we do, the Facebook group, which was daily. My husband was like, who are you talking to on, you know, who are you messaging on Facebook? And my whole Facebook has now turned into business groups, and you know, it's not personal anymore. So but it was so great to hear what everybody else was, questions they were asking, feedback they were giving, and just building friendships with the other VAs through the VIP VA community. and also just having people to validate what you're doing. And there is that whole imposter syndrome thing where you think, oh, I shouldn't, charge this too much, and I don't think I can do this and all of that. But actually, if I was going for a job in the city, I would feel really confident in my CV and my experience, and I would go for certain level jobs. But then when you're setting up as a business owner, it's a different thing. So having you to kind of cheerlead us along and say, no, remember, your work and your experience and things, I think that really helps to set up from the right place and not think, oh, I'm just new, so I'm going to charge pennies for, work that actually I've experienced.
The thing is that you can be done what you've done for years and years and years and years, but certainly nobody necessarily teaches you how to run a business or how to market yourself or do any of those sorts of things. So I think that when I put that program together, it was based on the fact that I didn't have that when I started, but that would have been really helpful for someone to sit there and go, how about this? Now, have you figured out your ideal client? How are you going to market to them? What does your business need to have in place? And I think it just cuts through some of that noise, and because there is a lot of information out there, some of it conflicting, but you can just get hit in the face with it and not really know where to go from it. So
and particularly, like you said, the sort of the business setup things, so having the insurance and the contracts and things like that was really daunting to me. But actually, once you've done it, it's fine. But until you don't know really what you're doing. So I think that was really invaluable.
Yeah, so I guess it's more about kind of teaching people how to run a business, an online business, than to go, you are a VA, these are the things you need to do to be a VA, because again, we all just do such different things that.
And I imagine that most people that come to you, if you're setting up as a VA, you will have experience either as an EA or doing, events or I don't know, social media or something. You're not getting people that have never worked going to set up their own business. Everybody that's coming to you has got their own experience from wherever it is, but they don't necessarily have experience as a business owner. I kind of saw you and the program as a business coach, not as my how to be a VA program. It was kind of coaching me in the way that I was planning to run my business.
Well, absolutely, and I think that's right. And whatever you've done previously, it's about not starting from scratch and going, I must learn this thing. It's going, what do I have that I can use and turn into a business? And then, as time goes by, you might end up going, oh, I fancy learning this or whatever, and changing that offering. But it's about focusing on what you have at that point in time.
And I've learned as well. I mean, I'm again 4 months in, so there's lots to do still, but there's so much out there that I didn't know existed. When you work for an organisation, you use all of the systems they use, you use all of the software that they use, particularly if it's a large organisation. You can't suggest, oh, let's use, this programme, because there's a huge IT infrastructure in place. And I'm realising now how many amazing things there are out there and things that I would love to learn more about. And I certainly will over time, as I'm getting set up, and there's such and things. So I don't feel like once you've done that, I'm finished and now I'm done. There's lots to build on, and as you said, to change your offering and to build and grow, depending on also what my clients might want. So I think that it's all just part of that kind of personal development in a way.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey, and it kind of, you can decide along the way how you want it to go, based on your own situation personally, or as your clients decide things. Or sometimes it's just because people see something and think, oh, I'd be quite interested to learn that, and then it goes in a different direction. But I guess the key thing is that when you're running your business, it's your decision. So
absolutely,
amazing. Okay, well, if there's people watching this that I'm sure people that are established VAs will find this fascinating, but people that are sort of maybe thinking about starting as a VA, maybe with us or not, but is there anything that you would give them as a piece of advice at the start of their VA journey?
So I think I would just say, just do it. Just go for it. Obviously, I was in a position where I left, my previous job, so I was kind of free to just get ahead and start. So it is nerve-wracking leaving an employed job and going for it. But I have spoken to people. I've actually had two ladies, one through VIP VA and somebody else through another just connection that I've got, have come to me and asked for advice, and they're setting up, and they've said, what should we do, and do you think it's worth doing, is there much work out there? And I've said to both of them, just go for it. It's really great, and it is nerve-wracking and it is scary, but there's lots of people out there, and more that are working in a freelance, basis. And lots of my clients are people that were working in large organisations, and they're used to having PA support, but actually now they are either a consultant, or they're an NED, or they run a small business themselves, and they need that support in the same way. So there's lots of people out there that are looking for it. So don't be scared, just go for it. It's great. And my second bit of advice would definitely be to, whether they sign up to the nurture program or not, but certainly to join, like the Facebook groups that people have, because building that network is so invaluable. One, just from getting advice and tips, and using the search function on the Facebook group is just amazing. The amount of every single question I've ever thought of, I think there's been at least 3 or 4 answers to. Even today, if there's something I'm like, which software should I use for that? So it's really good. And secondly, just to meet people, whether it's for associate work or whether it's just to get advice. I think that has really spurred me on, knowing that there's other people out there doing it, and that people are really happy to share advice. And I sent this huge long email to this lady that had asked me for some advice, just with a big mind dump of things I could think of, and she was so grateful. And I said, look, people did the same for me when I was starting, so actually I'm really happy to pass on the information. And people are, it's such a collaborative industry, and people are really willing to share. So I think that actually it's not like if you network with people, they're going to get your secrets. And it really builds your network.
Well, I think, if you help other VAs along, there's collaboration opportunities. It helps the growth of our industry, and there's so many positives. And the reality is that, even just in black and white, if you've got good contracts and other stuff, then people aren't going to pinch clients. All the fears that people have, I think, around, sharing whatever it is, it's grounded. Absolutely.
And also I think that sort of going back to your question about the nurture program, I really liked having the sort of seal of approval, the VOPVA stamp, just to know that I was operating at the right kind of standards within the community of VAs. And I think that's what I've said to lots of other people, actually. If you're nervous, and if you are thinking, oh, I'm not sure what to do, and I'm feeling kind of cautious about this, that's what really helped me with the nurture program. It made me feel like I was doing it right, and it gave me that confidence that I set up correctly, and I don't now have to think, oh, should I have got that in place? So I think that's really allowed me to just full steam ahead without worrying too much.
Yeah, as my program put you through your paces and made you face GDPR and all kinds of other sexy topics.
Yeah, and the criteria for membership as well, things like that. It really gives you the confidence to kind of sell your business as a reputable, setup, and you're not just some person working from their kitchen table kind of doing things, And I think that's really important, particularly with large organisations. They need to know that you've got things in place.
Everything in place.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So just go for it, my advice. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, look, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to talk with me, Kitty, because it's been a pleasure to have you on the programme, and I know that you're now in Mastermind membership, which is fabulous as well, so I can continue to talk to you and send funny gifts and stuff on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. Virtual team.
Virtual gifts when we need it, so yeah.
Great.
So, yeah, thank you. Sorry, say again?
No, I was just saying thank you. Thank you for your time, and also for the programme. I really, honestly, it really allowed me to sort of get things set up in the way I wanted. And I don't think that I'm shocked myself that at 4 months in, things are actually already really going well, and I've got a good sort of client base already. So there was absolutely no way that would have happened on my own.
It's brilliant. But you've taken the action. That's the thing. You've just gone and done it. So no, I'm really proud of you. Thank you. So look, have a really good rest of your day, and yeah, thanks for sharing your story, and I'll share this out to other people so they can hear a little bit about getting started.
Great, thank you.
All right, thanks Kitty, take care.
Have a lovely day. Bye.
Bye.